Financial freedom, my choice to stay child-free. Hey, I'm Natalie and I'm 40 years old. I've never had kids and honestly, I've never considered looking back. I know that may sound strange to some, but hear me out. I'm so grateful I made that choice. When I was in my 20s, I had big dreams about career success, exploring the world, and maybe even embracing a minimalist lifestyle. I wasn't ready for children, and at the time, I had no idea how much of an impact that decision would have on my financial future. The financial burden of raising children is no joke. Let me hit you with some numbers. The average cost of raising a child in the U.S. from birth to 18 is well over $230,000. That's over $250,000 before you even think about things like college tuition, extracurricular activities, or the emergency medical expenses that come with parenthood. If you're like me, that's a lot of money to consider, especially when you're building your future and thinking about your career. When I was in my 30s, I remember seeing that exact cost breakdown for the first time. I thought, wait, what? $230,000? That number hit me hard, and I was considering all the things I was already paying for with my little funds. At the time, I had student loans hanging over my head, I was renting an apartment in a city with a high cost of living, and my job barely covered my monthly expenses. I had absolutely no savings to speak of. I just couldn't wrap my mind around how anyone could afford to raise a child while trying to build a solid financial foundation. It wasn't just about the immediate costs, though. It was about the long-term financial strain of raising a child. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I didn't want to be working around the clock just to cover the costs of daycare, after-school programs, and all the other expenses that would inevitably pile up. My goal was to create a life where I could live with freedom, not just in terms of my time, but also financially. And I wanted to be able to invest in experiences like traveling the world, opportunities, and my future without feeling like I was buried under financial obligations. When I made the decision to stay child-free, I was able to build a lifestyle that prioritized financial freedom. And that didn't mean being selfish. It meant choosing a life that was sustainable and in alignment with my personal goals. You see, financial freedom for me is about the flexibility to do what I love without worrying about constant bills stacking up. It's about having the space to take calculated risks, like switching careers, traveling the world, and even starting a business. At 40, I can look back on my 30s and say, thank goodness I made that choice. If I had children, I know my priorities would have been completely different. I wouldn't have been able to make the financial decisions that have allowed me to live life with peace of mind. It's not just about avoiding financial strain. It's about having the freedom to say yes to the opportunities that come my way. And I'm not just talking about vacations to places I never thought I'd visit, although that's been amazing. I'm talking about bigger risks, like changing careers to do something I'm passionate about, or investing in experiences that make my life richer. Let me tell you a little secret. Having the financial flexibility to quit my job, travel for a few months, or switch industries was a game changer. I've been able to take risks in my career, whether it was moving to a new city or starting my own business, because I didn't have the added financial responsibility of raising children. Instead of spending money on diapers, baby clothes, or the typical kid-related expenses, I've been able to invest in my future. Whether that's building up an emergency fund, investing in my retirement, or just saving for a rainy day. But let's not just focus on the money. It's also about time. Time is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated luxuries that many people don't get to fully enjoy. Without children, I've been able to prioritize my time in a way that's brought me so much joy and fulfillment. I don't have to coordinate childcare for a date night, juggle work with school runs, or worry about missing out on my own passions because of parenting duties. I've been able to do things that make me feel alive. Whether that's laying on the beach in the Caribbean, exploring new cultures in Africa, or just reading a book in my own space without any interruptions. I can dedicate my time to my hobbies, my personal growth, and to building a life that feels meaningful. I'm not just financially free, I'm time-rich, and that's something I don't take for granted. Of course, I know that being child-free isn't the right choice for everyone. Some people feel an intense pull to become parents, and for them, all of the sacrifices are worth it. I respect that. But for me, it's been a revelation to realize how much I value my independence, both financially and in terms of my time. Having children just wasn't a part of my picture. And that's okay. For some, parenthood brings joy and fulfillment. For me, it's been about enjoying the freedom that comes with not having that responsibility. I'm definitely not alone in my decision. Research backs up what I've experienced. According to a recent survey by the U.S. Census Bureau, more millennials are choosing to stay child-free than any other generation before them. And guess what? Financial reasons are at the top of the list. The economic challenges of student loan debt, high housing costs, inflation, and the rising cost of living have made millennials rethink the notion of raising children. It's not just about finances, it's about prioritizing one's lifestyle and goals in a world that's full of uncertainty. What I've learned through this process is that the decision to stay child-free isn't one size fits all. It's deeply personal. It's about what you value most in life, whether that's financial independence, career flexibility, time for self-care, or something else entirely. For me, I chose to build a life that supports my values, and that didn't include raising children. And I think that's the most important takeaway. It's not about what society tells you to do or what's expected of you as a woman. It's about carving out your own path. For me, that path is child-free, financially free, and full of experiences that I wouldn't have had the space for otherwise. At the end of the day, I wouldn't change a thing. The financial independence I've gained by not having children has allowed me to live a life full of opportunities, adventures, and freedom. And for that, I'm forever grateful. If you have chose to live a child-free lifestyle, then know you are not alone. We welcome you to Child-Less Chronicles. Subscribe and become a part of our thriving community. Thank you for listening to my story at Child-Less Chronicles on how being child-free has allowed me to work towards my financial freedom. If you would like to hear more stories like these, stay connected by liking and subscribing. Also, don't forget to listen to my financial freedom affirmations on this channel to keep you reaching for your goals.